And a word about the SEO and GEO, which I think is super important. Starting from your profile, it will impact LinkedIn's ability to look at your content, and you will have better performance on your content. But also, if anyone's interested in GEO or AEO, which is essentially our appearance in chatbots, LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, LinkedIn, as of 2026, is the number one, maybe number two, depending on which report that you see. But if you ask me 26, 27, it will be number one consistently for a while as the most trusted source for these LLMs. And it makes sense. By the way, that's neck and neck with Reddit.
Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness.
Shout out to my sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, so why not optimize it? Just text OPTIMIZE to 72000, 72000 for instant access to 6 quick videos that help you think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer. A big thanks to Epic App, the 4-step storytelling system I use every day to connect and to convert. Try it free. Email me at stever1961@gmail.com. That's stevr1961@gmail.com, and I'll get you the free app. Doing Business with a Servant's Heart was just named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, you heard them all. And there was Snapchat, and there was chat this and that, social media. We're going to talk about that today, but we're going to specify LinkedIn, and talking to my guest for about 10 minutes before they went out, 20 minutes. He has a great word that he used. He called it opportunity generator. If I'm saying that right, not a lead generator, building opportunities which lead to something down the road. But we'll jump into that. Before we start with our great guest, we're going to do our gratitude for today. I just want you to know that I appreciate you and I think you are amazing. That's you, audience. My guest is amazing. He lives in Israel, and he was just telling me about he may have to run because an alert, bombings or something. Here in America, we don't have to deal with that. So I appreciate him taking the time and, being a forthright with that and all that. Let's bring him on. Eli, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. I'm excited to be here.
So you're in Tel Aviv, right?
Yes, in a city outside of Tel Aviv, but for the ease of everyone's sake, we're in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Well, I appreciate you being on. I know it's a crazy world out there right now. I was going to start with one question, but I'm going to start with another. You went from venture capital, which I deal with VCs all the time, to developing a digital agency in LinkedIn. How's that transformation happen?
It's a great question. I love my work in venture capital. I was there for 2.5 years, investing in Israeli early stage startups from pre-seed to A, but all the way up to IPO. And really, for those of you who aren't familiar, Israel's startup nation, number 2 behind Silicon Valley, over 90 or 100 unicorns, like really the innovation that comes out of here. So a lot of work with incredible founders at different stages of their company. I had used LinkedIn in my day-to-day as an investor to find these companies, to educate, even to attract these companies to me. So those, who are in venture capital, right? You always want the founders to be reaching out to you as opposed to you having to reach out to them or finding the best deals at the right time. So I was very, very involved in LinkedIn personally. And I had started to see the gap globally and in Israel, how it was being used at an executive level, at a founder level, at an individual level. Had conversations with friends and colleagues, enjoyed helping them with their LinkedIn, building out their presence, Then I met my co-founder, Shai, who was dealing with social media more on the company side. I was dealing a lot with the executive and the personal side. And we said, all right, let's join forces. This was already 7 years ago. LinkedIn back then was, I think, maybe around 500 million members globally. Today, 2026, we're at 1.3 billion globally and growing. Over 135 million C-levels on the platform, 65 million decision makers, and really people logging on like that. I understood this is where we need to be. This is where the companies need to be to build. And since then, we've grown to a company of 10, focusing just on LinkedIn, doing everything and anything LinkedIn. It wasn't easy to leave venture capital, but I wanted to really I had an amazing opportunity to help people. I saw the impact that we had on an individual level and a company level, and I wanted to grow to have employees to where I am today. And as I said, venture capital will always be there. I'll come back, and when I start investing in companies, I'll be a better investor, having being an operator and having my own company now, and having the exposure to incredible founders and incredible businesses, seven figures, eight figures, companies who have been, invested in from the top venture capitals in the world. So I'm having a great time.
Yes, and what a great story, what a great pivot. And like you said, you could always go back to it if you ever wanted to, and that's great. That's why having multiple
Yeah.
skills is great. You said
Yeah.
something very interesting. LinkedIn is not social, well, as components of social media, but why is LinkedIn not like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, etc.?
LinkedIn is not a social media platform. It is a relationship platform. It has social media elements like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, but the main difference is the mental state that people are in when they log into LinkedIn, meaning they're there for professional development, they're there for networking, they're there for business, usually whether it's, sales or marketing or hiring or raising your next fund from venture capital. But really at the basis of it all, to do that correctly, to do that at the highest level, it starts from building the relationships with those people and getting in front of the right people. And that's what LinkedIn allows you to do. And it's less for, the vacation photos and all the things that maybe we see. I find the other platforms very busy and very noisy. And yes, there is also on LinkedIn. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I think even if you get into that doom scroll, right, which we're all familiar, where we're scrolling through LinkedIn, I find it stimulating in comparison to other platforms. It's more positive, less toxicity than other platforms. It's the number one most trusted platform and the least amount of bots and automation. LinkedIn is doing a lot of work against it. So the main difference, LinkedIn at its foundation is to build relationships with people. And I think when you look at its alternatives, it's really whether you're an executive, a business owner, an employee in a company, you're even starting out looking for your first job. LinkedIn will service you. It's a career platform. It will service you throughout the entire journey of where you are. And there's different things that we'll talk about in the episode of how it should be used beyond the individual level and how it kind of comes into this entire ecosystem.
Yeah, before we go there, who should be on LinkedIn?
Everyone. I will say
Okay.
it is primarily for B2B. So B2C and consumer products. It's not to say that there isn't a side of LinkedIn that could be beneficial, right? Maybe it's more understanding that less sales may come from it, but to have brand awareness and maybe your executive or your CEO who's active on LinkedIn for his personal brand that can bring PR opportunities or podcast opportunities, or employees understanding that employees who are also doing their due diligence and prospect and looking at your company, they're going to go into the CEO on LinkedIn. They're going to go into the company on LinkedIn. If you're looking for, even if it's a B2C company looking for investments, right? Again, the investors are going to be looking on LinkedIn. And if it's not even if they're looking on Google, the first place that they're going to probably get to is LinkedIn. LinkedIn and Google work very well together in an SEO standpoint. Um, so you should be there if you're C-level, 100%. Not because it's not just a hiring platform or a job-seeking platform. You need to be there for sales, for HR, for marketing. Again, there's different things that you can attract yourself. The other subject matter experts within the company should be there. Employees should be there as well. And we can talk about the employee advocacy and how that ties it together. And even students at university, if there's anyone in college or university listening, you should have LinkedIn and you should be building out your LinkedIn. We actually teach it here at the private university out here in Israel at Reichman University. We've been teaching it for several years. The earlier you get in, it's like compounding interest. I think your personal brand and your LinkedIn profile, or your LinkedIn presence in general, is kind of like your pension fund, Steve, or your R01 or your Roth or your 401k. It's another asset that you can contribute to, or maybe your employer can contribute to as well. There's other brand equity that you can also take to yourself, right? If you work at Google, for example, or a well-known company, the fact that you're there and people associating you with that brand or with, helps you to wherever you go. So if you go on to another company, that stays with you. Your network that you've built, the connections, the relationships that you've built are able to continue with you throughout your life, right? We're talking about the business aspect, but should you want to do a career change to something personal, you have all these people that you've met along the way who maybe they're in different stages or at different places that, of course, that can help you. And you need to be out there. You need to, people to understand what you're doing and be visible to them so that they can also know how they can help you to bring value, right? If you don't put it out in the world, people can't guess. Well, some can, but it's a lot more effective for both ends if you make it clear to them how they can help you, right?
Yeah. So we know that the person that wants to put a vacation video you mentioned earlier up on, this is not where LinkedIn is, which is fine. That's where TikTok and Instagram, that's what they're there for. Now, how do we use LinkedIn properly to really benefit it?
First and foremost, bring value. Like when you're putting out a piece of content, have someone in mind. If it's easier, maybe think about one persona because you don't want to necessarily talk to everyone, right? And there's always, the people talk about going viral and LinkedIn's today, its current state with its impressions and algorithm is significantly lower, about 50 to 60% lower than where it was historically. So if, some people were expecting to get 50 or 100,000, maybe those are the numbers typically seen on other platforms. LinkedIn, for the majority, is around 500, 1,500, 5,000, let's say sub 10,000. Over that can already be considered viral. But I think that's really secondary because it doesn't matter. Even if you have 500 people, if you have 500 of the right people, which is the main change that LinkedIn has done with its algorithm, is to ensure that your content and your profile, that there's crossover between your experience and your background to what you're talking about, and then LinkedIn surfacing it to the right people. So, and by default, if you've gone viral, that means that it's something that appeals to the masses, which isn't necessarily bad, but to have opportunities, you can be very focused on who you want to help with, what your company or product solves, right? And speak to that person. So if you have that person in mind or that persona in mind, thinking to them what I'm writing, how can it give them value? Whether it's takeaways, it could be positive, it could be something that you failed at. That's also okay. And even if we take the vacation example, it's not that you can't talk about something personal in your life. You can talk about vacation and the importance of paid time off or spending time with your family and balancing work and life and work, or however you want to look at it. But it shouldn't be, look at me on the yacht in the Bahamas. That's okay if you want to update and show, on other platforms. But the perspective of it should be what I mentioned, when you're on LinkedIn. And there are ways again, to take the personal things. It doesn't always have to be my product. And actually, it shouldn't only be this is my product, this is what we can do, and things like that. Showing, getting people to relate to you is also okay. And again, there's different levels within that. There may be some people saying, well, I don't want to share that. That's okay. You don't have to be overly sharing. You can have a presence on LinkedIn, a successful one, without sharing things about your life and your family. So it all depends on, if I take it back to another thing of what you should be thinking about, first and foremost, do what you're comfortable with. Everything that I'm going to mention here in our episode together is to give you both sides of the coin for you to do what you feel comfortable saying, how you feel comfortable saying, right? And as long as you do it, I rather if you say, I can commit to being present on LinkedIn and doing what I need to do, but I don't want to talk about personal things. Okay, get in, jump in, start posting, start having those conversations, start getting, comments, start building it out, getting feedback from people in your network. Maybe in a month from now, 3 months from now, or at some point, you see it differently because you've already started doing it. But I think many people, not enough people, only about 2%, Steve, in the world. It's about 1 to 3%, okay, that post content on a weekly basis on LinkedIn, or even, I think it's a monthly basis. So if we're being conservative, out of the 1.3 billion members and growing globally. And you can imagine, again, these are business owners. And there's people who have stories. There are things to be said and to be told, and just not enough are there. If you ask me why, it's because what we understand, they don't have the time, they have the psychological, holding themselves back of not knowing what to say. So these are all things that can be changed and shouldn't be sacrificed. And again, you don't need to be an influencer, right? Maybe that's what we're very common hearing from social media, being influencers. No, on LinkedIn, it's more thought leaders, but even not everyone don't have to be a thought leader to be successful. It's sharing your thoughts, it's sharing your lived experience. It's as if you were at a conference, or if you were at a meetup, or if you were at your living room and you had someone over, right? That's kind of how I look at it. Is people always ask me what's important on your profile. So I say, look at your profile views. Because if someone viewed your profile, it's okay to start a conversation with that person. If someone walked in to your yard, you would at least ask him, hey, what brought you to my yard? So the same thing, if someone views your profile, ask them, hey, what brought you here? Oh, I saw your post. I overheard you talking about something. I saw something and it looked interesting and I wanted to come and check it out. So it's okay, that's some level of intent. They didn't accidentally end up on your profile. They saw a comment, they saw a post, they got a link. And it's okay to start those conversations and say, I ask people, hey, I saw you stop by. Was there anything that stood out? Was there anything that interested you? And people respond, I saw your post. And then you get to understand those silent lurkers. Most of the people on LinkedIn, Steve, are silent lurkers, especially as we go up the executive ladder and the economic buyers, right? If we're talking about a sales perspective, they're not leaving likes or comments. Think about us, me and you. Many posts we consume, we get value from, but we may not have the time, we don't know what to say, and we don't give a signal to the author on the other end that we read or that we got value or that we even saw that. And then I understand that I have these conversations all the time. You may look at your impressions and it may be lower than you expected. And then you think, well, people aren't seeing my content and it doesn't matter to anyone. But then all of a sudden you look at the profile views and you see someone came in, and that someone is relevant. Maybe it's a potential client or someone that you're having a conversation. Reach out, because he came there for a reason. And if you start that conversation, when I ask and they say, yeah, I saw that post, then all of a sudden it brings those people forward to this conversation. And you can take it from there, right? And again, it's the relationship platform, and you definitely don't go straight to a pitch slap, but there's just very conversational things. Like, I think a lot of times people overthink it of how you need to be. Just have conversations. Like, if you bring value and you're positive, right, and you have a servant's heart and you want to do good, and like you're fun to be around, just like in person. So also here, like LinkedIn, its mission is to create economic opportunity globally. So to be able to connect people and really all over the world, incredible people. I've met people in the last 7 years who have become very close friends, zero relation, to business. There have been people who've become clients. There have become people who've become referrals and partners, and podcast hosts and guests and everything. And it's just an incredible platform. And you mentioned in the beginning, yes, the opportunity generation that you're able to create on LinkedIn, I think it leads to life-changing opportunities. I don't know if it's a week, if it's 3 months, or if it's 3 years from now. But I know that if you do invest in LinkedIn, spend time in LinkedIn, and be present on LinkedIn, long term, something amazing will come your way. And every person will take that something amazing how he takes it. It may be a comment that you get. It may be, a DM that you get from someone who you inspired and said, hey, I've been following your journey. I've been seeing your posts. Like, I'm a big believer in the power of one. I know that, someone on the other end, at least one person is probably going to see a post or see a comment, either learn something, feel something. And that's very significant, right? We don't need the masses. We don't need the millions. It would be great if we do. We want to help as many people as we can, but we also do appreciate, that one and build up from there. And a lot can be done from that. And whether it's inbound or outbound and how you start those conversations, again, if you build on LinkedIn, the life-changing opportunities will come. I like to call it ROL, the return on LinkedIn, the time, the money, the resources that you invest on LinkedIn. Down the line, more compounding. We spoke about how it's another, asset. This compounding effect, you will be ROL positive.
I love it. And what you're talking about is quality over quantity. TikTok's quantity, Facebook is the quantity, which is, again, we're not saying that's wrong. Here, it's the quality. It's to get that one person that's going to change the game.
Yeah, even if we take it specifically to LinkedIn, because there is sometimes the debate around quality and quantity. And, if we take it to sales and the revenue part of it, people using automations and scaling. First of all, automations on LinkedIn are against its terms and services and can get the account flagged and banned. LinkedIn does not want you sending out 1,000 messages or spamming 1,000 people to maybe get 10, 20, 50, or 100 people to respond. So even if you get some response, again, not all of them will be positive responses, you're still getting another 900 people who don't think positively about you or your brand. And if you do another approach, which is what we've been talking about until now, and a more focused approach, you're thinking of reaching out to someone. If he's active, hopefully he's active on LinkedIn, you have so much more to work with. You can look at his profile. You can research that person to understand who he is. If he has a post, he or she has a post, like and comment on it before you reach out. Let that person see your face, see your name. Ideally, if they do LinkedIn correctly, they'll even respond back to you. And when I say comment, Steve, this isn't for anyone listening. I'm not talking about the insightful or great or thank you. I'm talking about where you come in and you leave like a mini post. The post had 5 points, you added a 6 point. You don't agree with the point, you say, I understand. I don't agree with this because so and so. You have a conversation, and when he or she responds back, it's as if you've spoken once. Now imagine the opportunity when you reach out or when you send a message. It's been great, having a conversation about so-and-so the other week. I really appreciated your perspective and your comment. I see that you worked at 1, 2, 3. We do 4, 5, 6, or however you want, right? Definitely build out that relationship. And now it's completely turned into a different conversation. And you've gone from cold to warm to familiar, right? A lot more receptive, a lot more value-based.
Yeah.
So,
Very
and
cool.
that's just with commenting. That's without even posting. If you have the posts to show them so that when they come to your profile, right, you do a great job, posting about the podcast and the work. And when someone comes into your profile, they're able to see that. And one of my favorite parts in your profile, Steve, was the recommendations, right? You don't know. And that's all the way at the bottom. And I always tell people, every part of your profile is important. You don't know where people's eyes are going to land. People ask, well, are they going to read everything? This is too long. Yes, fill out your about and your experience. LinkedIn gives us these sections also for the SEO and the algorithm, which we'll talk about in a second, but also for people to understand context. They want to do their due diligence. They want to better prepare themselves before they meet you. You respect them and they respect you. So put that out there. If they don't want to read it, that's fine. They'll skip on and they'll move on.
Yeah.
But the algorithm will always read it, will always look at the keywords there. So, the recommendations, you do a great job. I think you have around 61. Many people don't have that. So you should have at least 2, 3, 5, 10. That's great, filling out the rest of the profile. And a word about the SEO and GEO, which I think is super important. Starting from your profile, it will impact LinkedIn's ability to look at your content, and you will have better performance on your content. But also, if anyone's interested in GEO or AEO, which is essentially our appearance in chatbots, LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, LinkedIn as of 2026 is the number one, maybe number two, depending on which report that you see. But if you ask me 26, 27, it will be number one consistently for a while as the most trusted source for these LLMs. And it makes sense. By the way, it's neck and neck with Reddit. So if we compare those two, Reddit is an anonymous forum, which has a lot of growth hacking around it. LinkedIn has a profile. You can't fake that for the most part. You have someone's reputation that takes time to build. And when you see that person's posts and articles, which is being cited by these chatbots, you don't need the typical SEO, which takes maybe months or years already from building your company, your employees, and yourself. Down the line, it ties back to the ROL and to that asset that we were talking about will continue. You will appear in the future answers. And I think that's super powerful.
Yeah, it's great. We're running to the end here. We got a couple minutes. We don't want to miss this. I'm going to bring you back for part 2. There's so much more we can do. We'll do a sequel. I love that word. But you talk about the thought leadership ads that are out that just come out. I didn't know about them. Talk about that. Give us a couple minutes on that.
Yeah. I love that you reminded me and that we're talking about this. So thought leadership ads is essentially those of you familiar with company ads on LinkedIn. LinkedIn ads in general is very, very powerful in the audience that it's able to target when you put an ad budget behind content. So in the last 2 years, LinkedIn released thought leadership ads, which is the ability to take a personal post. So it could be the CEO or an employee within the organization to put budget behind that post, and then very advanced capabilities to put that post in front of the audience that you choose. So instead of them seeing a company page post, they will see a human and a person, and it will be very subtle under the headline. And I love that we're able to do this not only internally for people within the organization. LinkedIn allows us to do this for third parties. So this could be a testimonial, it could be a case study, it could be a partner, anyone who is talking about your brand that you want to put in front of a specific audience. You can put your money with their words in front of the exact audience that you want to target it. And I think having a combination of that with your organic content and a good thought out paid strategy on LinkedIn to have the thought leadership ads, taking the right content and having it always on in front of the right audience. It's one of the best plays that we're seeing working with our clients.
Great info. You're definitely an expert, but people are listening and they want to connect with you. So how can they connect with you?
LinkedIn, in case anyone, I'm sure that doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. LinkedIn, we have my company page as well, my digital. We have updates and things going on all the time there. But my personal profile, I'm sure you can link it in the show notes. It's the best place to come out. If there's any questions, feel free to connect with me to reference this episode, ask any questions that you may have. I'm happy to help any of the listeners or their companies. I'm excited to see. Please do share your wins. If it was able to help in the short time, I'm waiting for the sequel to continue. But I always appreciate getting messages, hearing what people have been able to do on LinkedIn.
Well, Eli, thank you so much again, taking the time. And audience, share this out with people you know on LinkedIn. I'm going to share it. Once I get it out in a couple of days, you'll see it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and just share it as a gift. What do you talk about at the beginning here? Engagement and connection. What a great way to engage with somebody. Hey, I know you're on LinkedIn, Steve. Check out what Eli's saying. Send him a gift. That's what I believe. So with that being said, me and Eli, I want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.